more specifically, the 4 teams that made it. And let's just say it like this. Just say it as it is. I I can see Florida State's pain. Okay, it really sucks to go through a whole schedule, win all your games, be a conference champion, win your conference championship game with your third string quarterback against a Louisville team that was pretty good. Louisville was good this year. And then see that the playoff committee is putting teams in that had one loss. And their fans have every reason to be upset. That's what I think. I I think that if you believe in the 4 teams being the 4 best teams, then this was the perfect outcome. Okay? Because Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia was the best team. Michigan and Washington were obviously going to make it. They were undefeated teams that won their conference, had their quarterback in quite handedly, right? And then you have Texas, right? And Texas beat Bama. So obviously, if Bama is in the college football playoff, Texas has to be in the college football playoff. It's tough. And look, I know that the committee has to make a decision, and they have to make a decision, and their decision isn't always like the decision that everybody is going to like. And I'm not defending the committee. Obviously, the committee has done a lot of dumb things before. I'm just kind of saying this on the level of not necessarily like don't give them too much flack, but really the team you should be blaming the most is Auburn, because Auburn did Auburn things. They had that game in command. All they had to do was stop Bama from converting a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line, which they've done before. It sucks. But I think that at the end of the day, next year it's going to be a 12-team playoff. It doesn't give much solace to understand that if it was this year, Florida State would have gotten in. But obviously, I think Michigan deserved it. I mean, even though, Michigan. And Washington did deserve it as well. You have to give the nod to Texas, and then Alabama, they beat the best team. So you had to give the nod to them. I would go ahead and say that this was the toughest decision for this committee to make. I wish that they had put in specific rules that say I just don't think people wanted to see Bama in it. That's what I think. And I personally, I can't see how you don't put Bama in there. But then if you put Bama in there, you have to put Texas in there, and then there's one team that's going to be left out because there were 2 other teams that were undefeated that won their conference. And I knew that they weren't going to leave an SEC team out of there. They've always kept an SEC team in there. But other people believe that, even if you aren't the best team, you don't have the best team, then you should still be in because you won your games and you deserved it. Which Florida State, they won all their games. Did they have the toughest schedule? No. Did they have the easiest schedule? No. But they won their games. It's not their fault that they lost their quarterback to an injury. Why should they be penalized for that when there has been a team that had their quarterback, their third string quarterback, and they still won? So, I think that this is one of those situations where it's tough to make this decision. Obviously, it's not a decision that people are looking at and saying to themselves, "This is a great decision to make," but we're making it anyway. But I do still feel bad for Florida State, and I do think that they should leave that this should leave an awful taste in their mouth. My hope is that they use this for moving forward. Like this is the real us against the world, because in theory, they should be in it. In theory, they should be in the college football playoff because they did all these things. They won all their games. This is the first time that an undefeated team has missed it. Do I think that there's a case to be made that, we're not putting them in because they would have lost? Well, I mean, how many teams have they put in there and got absolutely stonewalled in the first round? How many times has Michigan lost in the first round? How many times has Notre Dame lost in the first round? So that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't think that should be a formality. I do think that one side of me thinks that Bama deserves to be in, and then the other side of me thinks that Florida State deserves to be in. And whatever way you fall on those categories is how you're gonna fall. But understand, this was a tough decision to make, and I think that they made the decision that was going to make the most people happy at the end of the day.